Hey y'all, today we're going to be talking about rider ergonomics, specifically rear sets, and how they can make you a better rider. Rear sets are going to be the connection point between your lower body and the motorcycle. They're going to be your anchor points as you move from side to side on the motorcycle. In general, they're not one size fits all. They're not going to be customized to your specific need on the motorcycle. That being said, some of the premium motorcycles out there are going to bake in a higher spec rear set, like the Street Fighter V4 SP has Ducati by Rizoma rear sets from the factory. And the BMW M1000RR comes with rear sets from Gilles. For the rest of us, we need to take care of that in the aftermarket. Fortunately, we've got some really great options here at Motovation USA. If it's on the website, that means that we have done our due diligence so that you can be confident that it is going to be one of the best products on the market. We put it on our bikes, so we know that you're going to like it on yours. Which leads us to the question of, why do I need rear sets? My bike already has foot pegs. Motorcycle manufacturers are kind of forced into this situation where they have to choose between the price point of a higher spec rear set and a more one-size-fits-all at a lower price. As a rider, it forces us to customize the bike in order to maximize our enjoyment on the machine. My stock foot pegs have actually been really good up to this point, as I've been mostly casually riding this bike, but now that I've started to push my personal limits on this motorcycle, I've been finding certain limitations. So what ends up happening is in certain corners, like turn 8, the uphill right here at Coda, I've been finding that I'm having to flex my foot in order to get my knee up to the tank to lock in. And that's causing me to have just a little bit extra motion, a little bit extra thought process that goes into that. Another thing is that I'm actually starting to make contact with the ground as I'm going through that corner. So with a foot peg in a better position or a more proper position for my specific body, this peg would be a little bit taller or sit up a little bit higher, and it would help me to get locked in to that tank. Further than that, if you look at the construction of the stock rear set here, it's going to be a cast aluminum construction. And while that is going to provide a little bit more flex than, say, a billet aluminum construction, there's going to be more comfort, but not as much feedback coming through that foot peg. The other thing is it's going to not necessarily have a lot of replaceable parts. And that's going to be important for someone who may be in the middle of a race weekend, they find themselves in the gravel trap. They're not going to be able to replace certain pieces on this rear set. They're just going to have to replace the entire rear set. For someone who's going to be a little bit more of a casual rider, you might even find that these rear sets are a little bit too high for you and kind of giving you a bit of a pinch point in your hips. And with an aftermarket rear set, you can lower that peg to something that is more comfortable for you. Now let's take a look at these two rear sets from Gilles and Bonamici. Both are going to be constructed from high quality billet aluminum and have loads of adjustability built into the rear set. This is the Gilles MUE2, and it has a really cool way that they do the adjustments. They have a simple eccentric adjustment here. So all you have to do is loosen this single bolt right in the middle. And then once you have that bolt loosened, all you have to do is press down, and then you'll be able to slide the foot peg all the way up to this position, all the way down to that position, and then you can rotate around the cam to get your desired foot peg location. And over here we have the Bonamici rear set setup. Now this is going to be a little bit different as far as the adjustment goes. It's going to be a little bit more straightforward as you have more of a cheese grater style adjustment. So what that means is you have this matrix of threaded holes that you can move the assembly anywhere along that plate. While that is just a little bit less elegant than the Gilles MUE2 style, it's also coming in at about half the price. So there's going to be some trade-offs there. The other beauty of this setup as opposed to the MUE2 is going to be that as you move this around, the foot peg and toe peg never changes distance. So as you move the peg on the MUE2, it's going to change the distance between the foot pegs, so you're going to have to readjust that, whereas over here, that distance is going to stay static. Another consideration to make when you're shopping for aftermarket rear sets is the ability to shift from a standard shift pattern to a GP shift pattern. And basically what that is flipping your shift pattern upside down so that in a racetrack scenario, instead of shifting up by pressing up on the peg, you're pushing down on the shift lever to make that upshift. And again, both of these rear sets are going to be constructed from basically the same high quality aluminum and have the CNC machining. Both of these rear sets have left some of the CNC machine lines as a reminder that they are constructed from that billet aluminum. But another cool thing is that both of these rear sets will have pieces and parts that are easily replaced in the event of an off. Both of these rear sets are going to have a high quality bearing system at each one of the pivot points that will make the actuation of that pivot point nice and smooth. So whether you are looking for straight performance or looking to dress up your motorcycle to make it truly your own, rear sets are a great option to both make the ergonomics of your machine better, but also make you a better rider and make you more comfortable on the machine.